Hello, my name is Tristan Acevedo, and this is my video journal. Today is Tuesday, August 10th of 2021, and it's been a pretty good day. I've had the whole day off today, so I just spent some time relaxing, playing video games, did some drumming today, so, had a bit of fun. Had a nice, relaxing day at home. Not super looking forward to working the next 7 days in a row, but you gotta do what you gotta do. At least I have rehearsals after work, and at least I don't hate the guys that I work with. I quite enjoy spending the time with them, actually. They're pretty funny guys. So, all in all, not much to complain about today. So, I just want to talk about really quickly, actually, before I go, some of the struggles with some of my symptoms and some of my mental illness. I have a lot of symptoms of ADHD, but that can also stem from depression. I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that, like I have with depression, but I have a really hard time with focus and memory and emotional availability, if that makes sense. I'm not always the best at communicating what I'm feeling or when, or just communicating it at all, actually. And it's quite debilitating at times, and as is, that inability to focus and inability to choose something to do. Like today, I spent a long time laying down in my bed just trying to figure out what I was gonna do. But nothing sounded interesting because it was nothing that my brain wanted to do. For example, I needed to clean my room, and I still haven't, really. I finally forced myself to put away my laundry, which had been sitting in my hamper clean for a while, but I finally got myself to do that today. But when I'm doing something that my brain does not find it it's hard for me to stay focused and continue and finish on with that task. So it took me way longer than is probably necessary to fold and put away my clothes because I just kept getting distracted and my brain kept telling me this is not what we should be doing. But I didn't know what else I should have been doing at that point. I put on a video game, tried to play that, and it wasn't happening. My brain wanted to do something else. I tried to continue to write my book, my story, and my brain didn't like that. So I tried listening to music, I tried playing drums, I tried to go swimming, I tried everything that I could think of, but my brain just didn't want to do any of it. And that is really, really hard to deal with. And it's especially hard to deal with on days where I do work, because I'll be at work and my brain will want to do something else. Even though I'm very interested in what I do for my job, I can't help my brain starting to wander. And sometimes it'll be intrusive thoughts, sometimes it'll just be daydreams, sometimes the voice in my head will get so loud and depressive that it starts to leak out and I start to snap and whatever. And it's really, really hard for me in those moments to get back to and focus on work. I am a mechanic and I love working on cars. I think it's awesome. And I love working with my hands because it gives me something to do that fixes something and that itches that part of my brain that always wants to fix. Every problem I ever have, whether it's in a relationship or in a friendship or in my family or whatever problem I have, my first and foremost goal is always to fix. And that has caused a lot more problems, in fact, than it's solved. But even when I break something, my first thought is I'll fix it instead of I will buy a new one or I'll replace it or whatever, because I just want that feeling of accomplishment, of fixing something, of getting it working again. That's what I love, and that's what I love about my job. But even that reward of the accomplishment and the fixing doesn't always help. So I will start to drift off and I'll start to think of other things. And that's why I have to listen to podcasts or music or something when I'm working, because it gives my brain enough of that outside stimulation that's not work focused to kind of trick myself into focusing on work. And I've got all these different quick fixes for these kinds of situations, but none of them ever really stick. That's why they're quick fixes. And that is really, really hard to deal with sometimes. And people don't fully understand that. Most people don't fully understand that. So when I have trouble finishing a task, I'm lazy, or I don't follow through. Or when I have trouble beginning a task, I'm lazy or don't follow through. And it's super harmful to always be thought of in that way, and know that there's nothing that I can do to really fix it. Because if I tell them, oh, it's because of my mental illness, this is the symptom, and this is kind of how I deal with it, and this is how it affects my life, then it comes out just as more of an excuse than as an actual, like a symptom. And I would never try and use my mental illness and my deficiencies and shortcomings in that way as an excuse. I would never try and do that, because it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse for unpleasant behavior. It's not an excuse for hurting someone, or it's not an excuse for not getting something done. But on the other side of that coin, it is very debilitating, and it can hinder that, and it can cause those blow-ups. But then at that point, it's on me to fix that. It's on me to fix that and apologize and explain, and hopefully they understand. If not, then that's on them. But and I just have to do better at that point. But all of this to say, just check in on people, because sometimes you don't know what they're struggling with. And if it looks a certain way, or if someone looks like they're lazy or can't follow through with tasks or something, maybe ask them if there's something hindering that and what you can do to help. If what you can do to help is just to not point it out, don't point it out, because that'll cause more stress on that person and now make it even harder to get that thing done. It's like reverse psychology. The more you tell someone you need to do something, the more you tell someone with these symptoms that you need to do something or they need to do something, the harder and harder it is for them to actually get it done. And so, just check on people. Check on the people that you love. Make sure that they're doing okay. If you don't have the space in your mental health space or in your heart or whatever at that moment to kind of take on someone else's baggage or problems and help them through it, that's okay. You don't always have to be there and be that person. Now, if you do have that space and you're welcoming their issues, hear them out. Don't interrupt them. Let them finish, and let them fully explain what's going on, because that's the only way that they can fully get it out of here. It's like what I'm doing with this journal. I'm getting everything that I have up here that's kind of weighing me down out in a way that is creative and helpful for me. I don't feel comfortable talking to a lot of the people in my life about what goes on up here, because then I will feel like a burden. And a lot of the people in my life also have their own struggles that they are dealing with. So I don't want to put mine on top and then have it overwhelm them and have them get to the point that I was. So I talk to you, my camera, and I get everything out that I need to say so that I can start the next day, fresh and clean. So moral of the story is check on people, because you never know what they're dealing with, and you never know how they can cope. But I hope you all are doing alright and having an okay week. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Be kind, be good, and don't forget to give a shit. Goodbye.